Now that the dogs got me up, I had a big long video made out, and apparently I lost it in cyberspace. So I'm gonna make another one. Ori, hush. I got up at 10 minutes after 3. My blood sugar when I went to bed at 12 was 190. Took a metformin. I got up and it was 171. Dogs woke me up. I must have been breathing bad. But what? Oh, I made some rings. I made this one. I wrapped it. It's made in silver, wrapped in copper. I made this one out of silver. This one here is made out of a 16 gauge wire and 20 gauge wire wrapped around it. That one's made out of 16 gauge. That one there is made out of 16 gauge. And this one here is made out of 20 gauge. And that's what I made out of buttons and wire. This one's got a Chinese coin on it and it jingles. And the button. But anyway, we're going to talk about vanity this morning. I done took all the medicine, took it on the last video, the lost in cyberspace. All is vanity, like God said. What are you doing, big boy? They just came in. They all was out for a little while. Now I gotta try to remember what I all talked about. People, it's not bad to be prideful of what you can accomplish, what you can do. But vanity really serves no purpose. I'm all that and nobody else is anything. Well, that ain't the way it works. Hush, Oi. Can't even concentrate. He ain't gonna let nobody get next to me till my blood sugar goes down. He thinks he's really the king of the walk. He probably is. Well, you caused them pups. I didn't cause them. Well, now they're going to torment you the rest of your life. At least one of them is. Yeah, vanity's a lot to take in. There's a lot of people in history that's went by the wayside. We don't have no recollection of who they were, who they are, or anything else. Maybe a few cave paintings. And that's probably the most important people there was. Is the people we have no idea who in the hell they were. Or we don't even have a record of them. We don't even have any signs of them hardly. But they was the ones that built the civilizations, the sewer systems, the water systems, the buildings. Just plain old workers, just like me and you, plain old workers. They wasn't really. There was artisans, craftsmen, engineers, going through their daily lives. Probably some people knew about them in their day. There'll probably people know about us in our day. But after our day is come and gone, probably not have, what was it he used to say? 3 lines in the Oklahoma Times, or a couple of chiseled out remarks on a headstone. I like the one that says, I told you I was sick. I love that one. I always said, if you could take 5 people in history, or that's lived and or is living today, that you'd like to sit down and talk to, excluding your mother, dad, sister, brother, grandma, Jesus Christ, who would they be? I'd like to meet Bathsheba. Just because God said she was the most beautiful woman he ever created, I want to see what kind of taste he had. He should know he made them all. Now, he had vanity. That's true. He created us in his own image, after his own likeness. Yet he was prideful of what he created. That's why he put it above the angels. Yet we're above the angels, according to his records. We were created with his own hands, and angels were spoken to existence. Yeah. When he created light, he created angels. Yep, there you go. Like it says, in the beginning God created the heaven and the earth was without form or void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And he said, let there be light, and that's when he made the angels. Then a few days later he made the sun, the moon, stars, and all that other shit. First light he made was the angels. That's why he called Lucifer. Oh, I forget his real name. But he was the bearer of light. Azazel or something like that was his name. He'd be in the 72 angels of God. Yep, he was an angel. He was supposed to be the most beautiful angel God created. Well, what the hell he look like? We'll probably see him soon enough, some of us. God forbid I go there. And chuckle about that one. Everybody thinks everybody gonna go to hell. Hell no, ain't everybody gonna go to hell. Hell was made for the devil and his angels that fell from heaven. A third, only 1/3. And them that choose to follow him. Well, I don't choose to follow his ass. You got to do a willful thing. Now, do we sin? Hell, we sin daily. We can be fast to repent. That's what he said about King. Who was it? One of them. He said he sins daily, but he's fast to repent. See, the error of his ways. I think it was David. He was a man after God's own heart. Oh, I think that's enough about religion. I will say one more thing, though. It says, raise a kid up in the way you want it to go, and it won't depart when it gets old. Well, that's a damn truth. I like the old saying, picked out of his daddy's ass with a darning needle. I got a brother like that. He couldn't be more like my dad unless he was created. Overbearing, arrogant, abusive. You name it. He got all the attributes. Yeah. Like I said, I think another person I'd like to meet, Michelangelo. He was more than a sculpturist and a painter and everything else. He was an inventor. Everybody's just not one person. There are a lot of persons, all tied up in one thing. You carry a little bit of the past and hope you carry a little bit of the future. Yeah. Does it matter what your last name is? Don't matter a bit. You'll carry your ancestors in your blood, and in your genes, in your memory, in your cells. I'm a firm believer in genetic memory. That's why God said in the Bible, if you committed a sin, it took 7 generations for that sin to leave your bloodline. And he's right. Being a biologist, yeah, you'll carry 7 afflictions. If your daddy smoked, it takes 7 generations of non-smokers to get away from the smoke. So like if you, everybody wondered in the Bible how Noah could get all them animals loaded on the ship. Well, hell, he was a vegetarian. They They didn't eat meat till after the flood. Yeah, there's your piece of history. If you read the book, there's all vegetarians till after the flood. That's when they made the first sacrifice, eat meat. Yep. So therefore, it's just like a bird out there picking ticks and shit off of a cow or something. The bird ain't scared of the cow, and the cow ain't scared of the bird. Same way like a horse and a dog, or I mean not a dog, but a horse and a goat. Hell, they ain't scared of one another. They're all both vegetarians. Now you put a dog out there with a carnivore they're scared of them. They can smell it in their flesh. Yeah. And that's how they can tell years later, these anthropologists, of what you ate, where you drank the water. It's all in your bones. It's all in your flesh. I think that's why I want to be cremated, I guess. I don't want nobody digging around on my damn bones after I've been dead for 2,000 or 3,000 years. I believe in that old saying, dust and clay of the earth, go back to it. That's all we are. I wrote on my headstone, the spirit dwells in the house of clay whose foundation is dust. We mean very little. Somebody said you was worth about 18 cents of sulfur in your body. Make matches out of you. And much of it. Take your ashes and crush them together and make one little small diamond, about an eighth of a carat. About all that we're worth. I had a really good video talking about vanity. And it all is vanity. And prideful. But never be ashamed of what you can accomplish. Never, and always go out there and experiment. You get to know yourself and your own self-worth. You hear a big boy drinking all the water. I think you got diabetes, dude. You better lighten up. Craving that water at your fat age. I gotta wash all their bowls and stuff today. That's another thing. I gotta take me a shower, do laundry, wash dog bowls, fill them back up, and what else? It's odds and ends. I might get around to making something this evening. I made this till midnight, and then I went to bed for 3 hours. I got, see how many hours? I got 410 steps in already. I got 3 hours and 22 minutes worth of sleep. Well, I'm kicking butt. Old people don't need that much sleep. I watched some Netflix while I was making jewelry. The Legacy. Something about witches, vampires, and werewolves, and other things. Let me tell you about the word warlock. Everybody thinks that's a male witch. That's bullshit. They didn't do the research. A warlock is called a witch. It could be male or female. They decided all women were witches and all men were warlocks. Well, that ain't the way it is. A warlock is a witch that has lost her covenant. It takes 3 to be in a covenant. Yeah. My wife was, not my wife, but my mother, she was a gypsy traveler. And they did enough mystical bullshit on their own. Yeah. They were called travelers before they was called gypsies. And a traveler is not really a gypsy. It's an ancient, like from the ancient Celts. We were all pagans at one time. I think that's the oldest religion. being pagan. So they're playing with these rings I made. Made them out of real heavy wire. I made this one out of light wire. It's sort of a dainty one for women's finger. Then I made this one out of a button. It's made out of 16 gauge wire, 20 gauge wire wrapped around it. It's made out of a button and a Chinese coin. These are made out of 2 buttons and 16 gauge wire, and this one here is made out of military buttons, one button and a military button and 16 gauge wire. Something I come up with out of them buttons. I like to sit down and create stuff, to figure out something, see what I can do with it. That's the truth. My dogs are getting so fat. I'm feeding them too many treats. That's their biggest problem. That's what they're eating, is too many treats. And they'd rather eat treats than they would the regular food. Yeah. Be satisfied in all things is what God preaches. I like to read the book as like like a history book, the Bible, to me. It has a lot to do with the psychology, like Ecclesiastics, the Psalms. Basically, it just tells a story. It said, give your allegiance to no man. Well, Jesus is a man. Now, he's the one that saved us on the cross. He was the sacrifice. So, God demanded a blood sacrifice, and he was it. But God's a spirit. And since he was a perfect vessel, the Spirit dwells within him. And that's all we're going to see. So don't idle and worship the man. Worship the Spirit that dwells within him. It's like it said, I've been with you all this time. Don't you know who I am? He's talking about the Spirit that was in him. Yeah, he had his own spirit too. Yep. So he was a separate entity. He was a fleshly man, just like we were, with all of the flaws and this, that, and the other. Except he got angry, but he didn't sin. We get angry, we sin. How about that one? I feel better. I might do some painting. Get in some old holy coat, raggedy shirts and an old raggedy pair of shorts. One's probably hopefully already got paint on them. I can start scattering that damn paint. I can get this shit everywhere. I need a studio just for that instead of just a table. Yeah. I sort of laugh at the trolls. Got one guy that really likes me. I know who it is. I didn't give him money. So now he's going to torment me. Give him something to do, I guess. Like I care. I laugh every time he puts something up. Goes through all that work making a channel, this, that, and the other, just so he can make a shitty comment. I don't show him too damn bright. I don't do nothing for nothing. Everybody gets something out of something. Always remember that. It's either pride or envy or jealousy, or it's always they get something out of it. My sister, God rest her heart soul, that's something she said a long time ago, and I took to heart. Nobody does nothing for nothing. They're getting something out of it. It doesn't matter what it is, but everybody get something out of it. It's like going to church or going anywhere, going swimming. You're getting something out of it, or you would be doing it. You wouldn't be going there. Because if you ain't getting something out of it, you just I don't want to do that, and there you go. So, but always think things through. It's a great, like I said, the Bible is a great psychology book. Like reading Ecclesiastes, all about vanity. Reminds me of the other book of Esther. One of the hidden books, or the lost books, or whatever you want to call it. She had fell in love, and she had to apologize for it because he was a pagan. Remind me of my wife falling in love with me. She was a Jew and I was a Gentile. There's 3 deals in the Bible that says they're talking about Ham, Shem, and Japheth. I came out of the tribe of Japheth. Shem, it was the Jews, and Japheth, Ham was the Cushites. And then the other people that Noah had after he landed, he had more sons and daughters. I believe they were the people from the Middle East, the Chinese, Indonesians and stuff. Because you can trace the 3 that rode on the boat, the Cushites, the Jews, and then the Gentiles. And don't be mistaken, there was 3 individual, and actually there's 4. If you take the other sons and daughters that were born to Noah after the flood, and it'll give you a piece of advice. They were all vegetarians till after the flood. Yep, all mankind was vegetarians. Yep. And that's why Noah didn't have no trouble loading wildlife on the boat. They were vegetarians. They wasn't scared of it. It says in the Bible that the lion laid down with the lamb and ate straw just like the lamb did. How about that one? Of course, I do know that book. I had that shit beat into me when I was little. And I found out reading the book was fascinating. It took me 2.5 years to get out of the first chapter of Genesis. That's how fascinating it was to me. Of course, in my day, you had to memorize word for word. If you had to read it over and over and over, you could memorize it. And angels were created on the 2nd day. The sun wasn't created till a few days later. So let there be light. And that was the angels that was created. Because the devil was the bearer of light. Yeah. He was the one that brought the light forward. How about that? Of course, Jesus Christ there was nothing created without him being created. How about that one? That he created it all. God didn't create nothing. He just gave the plans. He laid the floor plan. He's an architect. He wasn't a laborer. He labored 6 days and rested from then on. He didn't work. He ain't worked since. Talking about a retirement plan. That's what it says in the Bible. He worked 6 days and rested on the 7th. That took him that long to write up the plans. And then the rest of it, after Genesis 2:4, then the Lord God created it all with his hands, I guess, most of it. What he didn't speak into existence. There you go. Now let's see, my plans today: take a shower, wash clothes, wash the dog and water feeder, fill them back up. Might do a little bit of vacuuming. Hell, I might do a house cleaning. Need to separate some of this shit. I got it all stacked up here. I got all my damn art, jewelry stuff scattered all over the house now. I go by and pick all that up. Pick out something else to do. I ain't made a book in forever. I get wrapped up in making a book. It takes about a week to do that. Stretching. All the other good stuff. Look at the hiccups. I don't even know where my book stretcher is at. I don't know. Probably over in a pile of the stuff that I piled up. Said, oh, that belongs to the bookmaking stuff, and throw it over there. I need to go to the thrift store and buy an old leather coat so I can bind a leather coat. Put it on the cover for a cover. Get out my torch so I can brand the leather. What the hell is that? Damn alarms are going off. In case I oversleep, it's 4:30 in the morning. I was raised on a damn dairy, and I still get up around 3 o'clock. 3 to 4, that's my time to get up. I'll take a nap during the day for about an hour. Dogs won't let me sleep past that. So I might get 5 hours sleep in an all-day, 24-hour period. Thank God I do create. Well, I'm going to let you go. Like I said, all is vanity. Maybe I can get this one up without erasing it. Be happy with what you can do. Don't take it to be vanity. Take it as being accomplished. I accomplished this and I accomplished that. Without the grace of God, I couldn't accomplish anything. It's like the old boy that wrote the Amazing Grace. He used to be a slave, ship captain. Sold thousands of slaves from Africa to the Americas to England. There was more slaves sold in Cuba, the Dominican Republic, or down in that area, South America, than there was ever brought to the United States. We basically had a good turnover of letting them breed, like any humans, and we just take from our own stock. Where my ancestors did or not, I have no idea. I ain't researched that part. But I'm talking as Americans. They let them propagate, and so they didn't bring in fresh slaves from Africa. Now the turnover in the West Indies and Cuba and places like that in South America, Brazil was one of the ones. They had a great turnover because they worked them to death. Yeah, this is like living on an Amish farm. You had a good horse, cow, whatever. You didn't work that horse to death. You know, you took what you needed and worked, but you didn't work him to death. You know, you wanted colts out of him, young, let him have more baby horses and stuff. And that's what it is. Now, was slavery wrong? Well, hell yes it is. But slavery is still practiced today in some of these foreign countries. And I think it's practiced in America by one person have all the power and the wealth and this, that, and the other, and they sort of dictate what they want done on their own business. In other words, we live in a capitalist society, but run by dictators. Ain't that the shits? Gotta go before I get real political on your ass. These rings are fun to make. Gotta go. Take care of yourself. Think of one another. Don't do anything to somebody you wouldn't want them to do to you. Take care.